Friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Learn English with Khanapure sir. Today we will deal with one of the best poem of 10th class. The name of poem is Basketful of Moonlight. This poem is written by Sunil Sharma. It is a translation of Dongri language poem which is very best. Today we will see a brief summary of Basketful of Moonlight. This poem is very interesting and easy because it is a free verse poem. Actually, the speaker of the poem is a small boy who expresses his desire about his village and his father. In this poem, the small boy requests to the moonlight of basketful of moonlight seeds only for the purpose of sow beside the path, beside the road. Why he want to sow a seeds of moonlight beside the path? There were only one reason, because his father and all villagers goes to the city for the purpose of work. When they come back, at this moment quite dark, not only he but also all villagers did not reach their home early. When they visit their home, then their child slept. So that a child want to sow a moonlight seeds beside the road only for the purpose of light, because his father come home too early. A child want to hear stories of fairy tales from his fathers, like other fathers who told stories to their children. That is why the speaker of this poem want to request to moon, please moon, give me a moonlight. Not only free but also on a loan. He requests to the moon, please give me a moonlight on a loan. I will return some after time. It is a clearly imagination of that small boy. A road is very tough, full of snakes and scorpions. A small child worried about his father. Not only the father, but also all villagers. Those go to city for the purpose of work. There were not a cart, there were not a cab, there were not a buses, so that they come by the foods. A small child worried about his father and villagers. So that he requests, please moon, give me a moonlight, a basket full of moonlight seeds for the purpose of sow beside the path, beside the road. It is a very clear imagination of the small boy. He wants to just only sow the moonlight seeds only for the purpose of lightening everywhere, because his villagers come back early to their home. They discuss with their parents, they discuss with their child. The small children also spend a lot of time with their fathers, with their family members. That is why he requests to moon. It is a imaginary poem which is written by the Sunil Sharma, which is find out the all scenes into the rural areas. It is just only a brief summary of that basketful of moonlight. But another part which is asked for in your question paper, question number 3, we call it as appreciation of the poem. Dear friends, dear student, you know about what is meant by the appreciation. Appreciation means we find out the every theme, every small information about the poem. We discuss on the poem. We call it as appreciation. When we write the appreciation of the poem, at this moment we must be follow the 8 points of the appreciation of the poem. What are the 8 points? As you know, the first point of the appreciation of the poem is the title of the poem. The second is name of the poet, as like this one. Now look at the board. I will show you what is meant by the appreciation of the poem and how we solve the appreciation of the poem into the question number 3. Basketful of moonlight. Today we deal with the basketful of moonlight. The name appreciation of the poem Basketful of moonlight. The first point of appreciation of moonlight is the title of the poem. The title of the poem, as we know, what is the title of the poem? The name of poem. We call it as the title of the poem. What is the name of the poem? The name of the poem, we call it as the title of the poem is Basketful of moonlight. It is the first point of appreciation. The second point of appreciation is the poet's name. As we know, the poem is written by the Sunil Sharma. Originally poem is written in a Dongri language, but Sunil Sharma translated in English language from Dongri language. He entitled it as a Basketful of moonlight. So that the name of poet is Sunil Sharma. The third point of appreciation of the poem is the rhyming scheme. Dear friends, you know about the rhyming scheme? There are two different another things, rhyming scheme and rhyming words. But in that poem, in that question, appreciation of the poem, we must write the rhyming scheme. As you know, this poem is a free verse poem. There will not any kind of rhyming words, rhyming schemes. So that we call it as a free verse poem. My dear student, what do you mean by the free verse poem? Free verse poem means there were not any kind of rhyming words and rhyming scheme in the stanza. We call it as a free verse poem. Poet has authority. Poet has authority to write as his imagination. There were not any kind of restrictions, boundaries about the stanzas, about the lines, about the rhyming words, about the stanzas, so that we call it as a free verse poem. As we know, the Basketful of moonlight is also a free verse poem. That is why there were not a rhyming scheme. The fourth point of that poem is favorite line. Dear friends, every poem has some special lines. Every poem has some special favorite lines. We like it very much. Why we like it very much? Because we find out the interest in that line. In that poem also, some favorite line is like, it is a imaginary words by the speaker, by the child. I want to light the dark route. He want to light the dark route because his father come back early. So that my father returns early. I too want to hear the fairy tales. The small boy want to hear the fairy tales from his father. My dear friends, a small by imagination. He described his imagination to that poem. He want to hear the fairy tales from his father. His father is a worker. His father is a laborer who go to the city for the purpose of work. Very heart-touching story of that boy because he want to listen a fairy tales. He did not offer apple, any kind of fruit. He just only offer to God, please God, my father come back early to home only for the purpose of listen fairy tales. It is a rural area's imagination which is combined by the Sunil Sharma in his word. My dear friends, the fifth point of the appreciation is theme and central idea. What is a theme? What is a central idea? Sunil Sharma want to describe rural areas, imaginary words, What is the expression of small boy? A small boy want to share his desire. He want to spend more time with his family member. He want to sow moonlight seeds beside the path only for the purpose of lightening everywhere. Because he want to come, all villagers come back early to their home. It is a central idea. As you know, the child desire spend a more time, child imagination. It is a one kind of central idea of that poem. The sixth part of that poem is figure of speech. My dear friends, why we write, why we use a different figure of speech in that poem? Every poem we use figure of speech. What is the reason behind of figure of speech? Because as we know, figure of speech are used into the poem for the purpose of decorating the words, decorating the lines, decorating the stanzas. In that poem also, we use one of the best figure of speech. We call it as alliteration, we call it as a repetition, we call it as a hyperbole. These figure of speech are used in that poem. It is a sixth part of that appreciation of the poem. Now, look at the seventh part of appreciation of the poem, special features. You know about no? Every man, every poet, every poem has a special features. My dear friends, we, you, everyone has a special features. What is a special feature? I have a new special features. You have a new special features. Everyone has a style. So that what is a style? What is a new feature in that poem? And a good feature in that poem is it is a free verse poem. It is a free verse poem in which we can understand very easily. The writer, a poet, use a very simple language. Sunil Sharma used very simple language so that it is a special feature. And easy to understand, a simple language, simple structure without hard grammatical structure. It is a special feature of Sunil Sharma's poem entitled with Basketful of Moonlight. It is a special feature. When we write the appreciation of the poem at this moment, you should mention the special feature into that point. Last point is why I like this poem, why I dislike this poem. Definitely I like this poem. I like this poem. Why? Because it is a heart-touching story between small child and father. It is a heart-touching discussion about rural areas. It is a heart-touching information about workers. What are their feelings? Combined by the words by Sunil Sharma. That is why I like this story very much. I like this poem very much. My dear student, it is an appreciation of that poem. We call it as a Basketful of Moonlight. If you like that poem and if you like that appreciation of the poem, please comment in my comment box. And please, if you want to watch more videos of me about a different syllabus, so please subscribe my channel Learn English with Khanapure sir. Thank you.